So here we are with my SafeHatch technical due diligence methodology, and it is an analogy to a very simple device called the three-legged stool. The three-legged stool, the concept is very simple, hit it one stroke. It's made up of three legs. The legs don't have to be the same length, they don't have to be the same girth. But each leg by itself has to be strong enough to help hold the stool up. There's only one way you can do that, and that's if it's joined at the top by a seat, as you can see in the picture. In order of preference, people, plan, technology, and marketplace. If I can take a look at a company in 24 hours, one day, I can report back to a potential investor whether or not the legs will hold the marketplace together and make this a success. In over 10,000 technical due diligence exercises, I have yet to miss. Now let me explain what I mean by that. I have gone back to investors and said, I think you ought to write checks and get into this company. I've gone back to investors and said, I think you ought to pass. They don't always listen to me. That's fine. But I can look back and tell you that out of 10,000 opportunities, not all of which were funded, but of the ones that were, the ones I suggested go, went. The ones I suggested not go, didn't go. What do you think the number one reason for them failing was? What's the order of preference on the stool? It's always people. Always people. People, plan, technology. Technology means whatever's, I come from the IT space. So it's people, plan, whatever your secret sauce is, and then is there a market for it? And in cases with companies like Green and Safe, the serendipity of, is the market ready for it? If Charlie had tried to build Green and Safe 10 years ago, with countless funds, it would have probably been at best a mediocre success. Today, people are all about green. Even the Howard Hoopers of the world who couldn't spell green before he met Charlie has now gone and bought 2 programmable thermostats and installed them in his house, all by myself. Only took a week to get them all programmed right. And then just recently had insulation in my attic raised to R40, as Charlie told me I should do that. And then, of course, right after I did it, he said, well, why did you use batch? You should have blown it. It's much more efficient. I go, thanks for telling me things after the fact. This is a very oversimplified concept that has been very, very successful in helping measure both entrepreneurs, their plans, their people, their teams, and their ideas. So what's opportunity? I attest that nobody can teach anyone to be an entrepreneur. It's not possible. On the other hand, I don't necessarily agree that people are born entrepreneurs or not. But I can tell you for a fact, there are a lot of people who can help teach you to understand the characteristics of what an entrepreneur is so that you can decide whether or not you want to adapt them to move in that direction. You also need a personality that fits. You know, I'd like to say I had 3 very successful companies with nice exits. SafeHatch is a nice kind of business. I get to meet guys like Charlie and work with him and other kinds of companies all the time. I also, unfortunately, for every Charlie, there's 22 guys that I kind of look at and shake my head and go, where did this guy come from? Where did this concept come from? Or so on and so forth. But contrary to popular belief, they're not born, but they can be nurtured and grown. A lot of it's attitude, a lot of it's perseverance, a lot of it is a lot of thick skin, you know, go to it. Charlie's 20 years into the Green and Save, what will be a huge success story. Somebody's going to come along, I believe, within the next 2.5 to 3 years. Somebody like a Forbes magazine, somebody like a, you name it, somebody like a Yahoo or a Google, who's just basically going to say, I need to own one of the most preeminent green spaces in the web. And by the way, it also has that wonderful, I train people, I put them to work, they make money, they turn around and help homeowners and office building people save gobs of money. And somebody's just going to come and throw millions of dollars at Charlie to sell that. Now, his board is going to help him make a decision on what the best buying deal is, but it's going to happen. Then the question is, how many people take their marbles and cash out, and what's in it for Charlie? Well, Charlie is green and safe. Whatever the deal ever is, somebody's going to say, but Charlie, you have to stay. You have to continue to grow this dream. We're just going to add our name someplace behind you, just as General Electric, for example, owns NBC. Okay? Or CBS. Anybody know who these guys are and gals? That picture look familiar? Anybody know who these guys are here? Who is it?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. There's not a VC in town that would have invested in that deal today, unless they knew what happened. And in fact, there wasn't a VC that invested back then. They self-funded that deal. There's talk about Motley Crue. But I don't have to tell you, he's still wealthy. He is the wealthiest man in the world today, or in the United States, not the world. Okay, so a couple points to end in. Technology will continue to enable successful business transformations. We're not standing still. Everything keeps moving. Investments will continue to come and improve. You know, we're on a downside on the economy. Some people are calling it a recession. I don't know the difference between recession and depression, although the joke is a recession is when your neighbor's out of business, a depression is when you're out of business. This is just going to temporarily go away, it'll come back. And investments in new business opportunities will take off, as I said. I don't know what happened to that slide chart, but there's another. Did it once more, because it really gets messy. Ooh. That last piece says something like companies that are able to differentiate their message and deliver some quality are going to be very, very successful, i.e. green and safe. Last slide. Think of your opportunity as a potential entrepreneur as a weapon sitting out there on the table. Either you pick it up or your competitor does, but either way, somebody's going to get killed. Any questions?